Real Coulworld, episode 6. Welcome back, ladies and gents. I'm with the man, as always, Jesse.
J-Dog.
Nothing has changed.
No.
You're literally here.
Yeah, all the time. I do live here, so it's hard to shake.
That's why you're here all the time.
Yeah, if you ever tried to do an episode without me, it'd be very difficult.
Can you just stay in your room for the next hour?
And also lend me all of your equipment.
Yeah. I have put zero investment into this.
Nah, that's alright. You're lucky that you're doing it with someone who already does it.
That is
You know
true.
what I mean? There's no point you buying another camera,
That is true.
because I've already got two.
And for those who don't know, I assume you would, Jesse does have another channel. He is Mr. True Footy.
Senor True Footy, actually, is the correct title.
Sure. So if you haven't checked that out, go scroll over to True Footy.
Thank you.
How is the channel going?
Good, man. In fact, since we've done the last Coulworld, we did a True Footy Live Grand Final stream. So that was pretty dope. What did you think of that?
It was good. That was my first live stream on Grand Final Day.
True.
And Grand Final Day to me is like the second Australia Day. So I treat it like Australia Day, where it's just like you can crack a beer at 10 o'clock and it's not weird.
Yeah.
You can be completely wasted by 12, 1 o'clock in the midday, and no one can say anything about it.
Yeah, it's just like you could probably do it Christmas and Boxing Day. You can probably do it Australia Day, Grand Final Day, and every second Saturday.
You had me to the last one.
Well, the rate we've been deleting beers.
Yeah, we have been a bit naughty lately.
Yeah, a little bit.
But look, you're in your 20s one time. You got 10 years.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, might as well.
You might as well use it. Although I am planning on sort of chilling it down.
Yeah,
just a tad.
You have been very fitness focused lately.
Yeah.
You're doing your 30 days of fitness digging your ass? No, 30 days of fitness.
Yep. So I'm doing 150 Ks in the month of November. Running, I should say, 150 Ks.
Driving.
That's not hard.
I'm going to Bunbury.
No, I'm running 150 Ks in the month of November.
Yeah, it's good.
Which, quick math, is 5 Ks a day for 30 days.
True.
So in my mind, it's just easier just to commit to every day doing 5 Ks, because if I miss a day, I got to do 10 the next day.
True.
And 10 Ks is like, I would say twice as hard as 5 Ks.
Yeah, it's roughly twice as hard. Yeah.
Nah, I would
It'd probably be exponential, actually.
Way
It'd be
harder.
More than double.
Even just doing 5 Ks, which is funny though, because the last K, I always run it faster than any other K in my 5K run.
Yeah, okay.
So the first K is literally just like a warm up. I'm not trying to push my body too hard because like my back might get sore or like your knees might start getting sore. So the first K, I'm really just like warming up. I start really slow and I just sort of warm it up. By the time I get to about halfway, I'm at a decent pace. The I'd say like the 4th K out of the 5 Ks is the absolute hardest.
Yeah.
But then I get my second wind, I reckon, right at the tail end of the 4th K, and the last K I can literally sprint. I don't know why. It's just like it's a point in my running where it's like a brick wall, and it lasts for about a K, and then once I get through that, I feel like I can run forever. Like, so I got a spot down here which is like right near a light pole or light post, and that's my starting and finish line. And I think it was like 2 days ago, I just like the last K I was just flying. I was literally sprinting it, and normally when I get to that light pole, I just stop. But this one day, I was just feeling it, so I kept running past it and ran further down the street. And it just felt so good. Like I just felt like I was just free. Like my body was running without any real effort from me.
Yeah, right.
It was
Running downhill does do that.
It was a weird moment. Well, this was flat.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, there's a downhill at the tail end of the run anyway.
Yeah.
But that is the other thing with the run. It's 2 massive hills.
Yeah.
So only half of it is hard because half of it is downhill, which is using momentum, and then the other half is obviously running uphill, which is tough. But I like it because it feels like only half of the run is actually difficult.
Yeah.
The other half is pretty chill.
Yeah, that's good.
But you've still been smashing the gym regularly?
Yeah, I have. I've been doing it to equally compensate for the amount of booze I'm drinking on the weekend. But it's good. I've lost 7 kilos since the gym's reopened. For anyone outside of Perth, that was like June, I want to say.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, because there was a bit of like, we went into lockdown in like March or semi-lockdown, and then the gyms reopened a bit after that. So yeah, 7 kilo loss. Started running, which I never really run.
How have you been feeling from running?
My knees were a bit cooked because I hadn't run in a while.
Yeah. They do get better though. I feel like they build like a tolerance up kind of thing of like the impact.
For sure.
What are you running on? Treadmill?
Yeah, just a treadmill.
Yeah. Well, that's a good place to start because treadmill is has like some give, and they do make it so like on a treadmill. I know this from like working in a sports store like through uni, but there's like they have impact sections where like has a lot of give, so it's not like just running on the hard ground. So basically, what they do is at the start of the treadmill on the belt, at the start of it is really soft, so it gives weight, and then at the tail end it's really firm, so that you can still explode off the firm area, but when you land on the soft and it gives. So it's a good place to start.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I just started doing it. I don't know why. I think because we were going to play AFL 9s for a bit and then work's kind of got in the way of that for me. So I was going to build up my fitness. But then by the end of that...
committed to an AFL 9s team that we have not played for.
Yeah, I literally haven't cracked it.
I think it's been like 6 weeks now.
Yeah. But either way, I just started adding a 1K run at the end of each workout and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's good. Like I think in the last potty I was saying I'm quite weak for my frame. But I weighed myself during the week, I told you, and I weighed like 7 kilos less than I thought I did.
Yeah.
So when you put that into context, I weigh 80 kilos rather than 87, and I'm benching 90, then I feel a little bit better about myself.
A 90 bench is still very strong.
It's solid. Yeah, I'm doing that for 2 reps, no spotter. So like, I mean, I'm not really strong, but like that's definitely solid.
Yeah, but I reckon you can add like another 2 reps on with a spotter.
Yeah, for sure. And probably even just push 95, I reckon, for 1 rep if you have a spotter. I think the psychological benefit of having a spotter makes
it's just because like when you don't have a spotter, you don't want to go down and just like feel that moment where you're like, oh fuck, like now I'm literally stuck here.
Yeah,
I have to live the rest of my life under this bar.
Yeah, but what if they're trying to be red?
Yeah.
No, that's very true. Oh yeah, so I guess to go back to your run thing, did you cover why you're doing it?
No. So
why are you doing it?
I think the reason why I'm doing it is a lot deeper than anyone really realizes. Like everyone's asked me that, and I've just said like for fun, it's a challenge. But the reason why is because shit has just felt a little bit hard lately. It's been harder to like, for example, it's been harder to like get up in the morning. It's harder to fall asleep at night. It's harder to like keep my relationships with friends and family that I don't see regularly. Like things have just felt like it takes more effort than usual.
Really?
And I sort of got into a spot and I was like, the reason why I want to say this is because like I want to emphasize that it's okay to feel like that. Like that, it's a normal thing. What's not okay is doing nothing about it. Like just like wallowing in that and just like sitting in that.
True.
So to combat that and to sort of make a change, I decided to do this challenge where I run every day, run 5Ks, which isn't far, but it's far enough that it's benefiting my physical form and my mental form. Because there's so many points in the run where I want to give up and I want to quit, or you find it like you get like 3Ks in and you start talking to yourself like and saying like, oh, this is like I've done 5 days in a row. Like I could stop and walk for 5 minutes. Like it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Or like and you start trying to like trick yourself into why it's okay to stop, why it's okay to quit.
True. Yeah.
And just getting through that and being like in your mind, like I'm not quitting. Like I'm running consistently this whole thing. I'm doing it for a month. Because running isn't that hard physically. I feel running's hard mentally.
Yeah. True. Yeah, your brain gives out way earlier.
Way earlier than your body does.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have you... I mean, you play football, so maybe a few times for you, but the average person, how many times have they run till they physically can't anymore? Very few, but most people will stop.
I've only ran once to the point where... Actually, so I've run a few times where, like 3K time trials and things like that, where the last like lap of a footy oval, my vision will be completely gone.
Yeah,
like my vision will be so blurry and so impaired. It's like being super super drunk.
Yeah,
and you can just feel like your body's just like slowly like shutting down, winding down.
That's why you shouldn't go out the night before your 3K.
So I've pushed myself to that level once, a few times I should say, but I've only ever pushed myself to throwing up once.
Lovely.
Which wasn't even. I was just unfit. It wasn't like that. I was just like not that fit into it. But that's the reason why I'm doing it. Is I just want to sort of like make a quick change, sort of push myself physically and mentally, and just see how I feel at the end of this month. That was my UE boom, and I forgot to turn off.
Oh, okay. Your what?
UE boom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. That shocked me. I was like, the hell just happened there? Yeah. No. Interesting. So I guess it's sort of to get kind of like an esteem boost, maybe from hitting goals, but also maybe feel a bit more in control. Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah. And just sort of like, I mean, exercise releases endorphins.
Definitely.
And being fit also just like helps with your energy levels. And I feel like I'm just lacking that that up and atom attitude that I used to always possess.
That's something you value, hey. I've heard you talking about it a lot. You've always wanted to feel like strong and fit and in the prime of your life, which is not really something that comes into mind for me. For instance, like with the gym, I can happily admit I do it to try and look as good as I can, not feel as good as I can. Whereas I feel like for you, your fitness and your ability to like do a 5K or whatever is kind of a little bit more ingrained in your identity. Would you say that's true?
Pretty fair, pretty accurate. Yeah. I mean, obviously looking good is great. Yeah. Like we're not going to just completely disregard that. But mine is I definitely like the mental side of it. Like when we got into the gym really heavy, the thing I liked about it is like knowing that I'm strong. Yeah. Like not necessarily like looking like you got big muscles and you are strong, but in my mind knowing that like I am strong, like I'm strong, I'm athletic, I'm powerful. Like I like that feeling of walking around knowing that like I can jump really high, I can do a heap of push-ups, I can do a bit like it's those small little things of just like knowing that I have that ability and that ability is there and I possess it. That
confidence.
Yeah, which completely leads into confidence. Like you walk into a ring with your shoulders back because like you just feel strong and powerful and real like alpha. So I like that sort of side of things. But running's different because running doesn't really give you that. Running is literally more just like can you commit and can you just like not stop? Yeah. Even when like, and there's so like I said, there's like around that like 3K mark, 4K mark, I'm just like, and I did it the other day. So normally I've been coming home and eating dinner at about 6. Yeah. And then going for my run around 8:30, 8 o'clock. And then one night I got home a bit late, so I didn't want to eat because I didn't want to run with a complete full stomach. Yeah. And so I went after a full day's of work and ran, and that was the hardest thing that I've ever did. Like that 3K, when I got to that 3K mark, which is always the wall for me. Like I just felt completely depleted, and I've sort of like felt like that in the past, but then this time was the first time that I recognized what it was. It was that I haven't eaten.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because like I feel like through the weekends, I mean you do it as well. You train on an empty stomach.
It depends how much I'm training in terms of like if I'm in a good space where I got on momentum and I'm pushing 90. Then I won't. Yeah. But sometimes I'm just like, if I'm sort of getting back into the gym, I won't make it an excuse not to go, if you know what I mean. I do like to eat. I lift on a heavy, full stomach. Yeah. Not full, but...
yeah, well, I mean, I'm not a big eater anyway, to be honest. But often, like, I do things without really eating. I used to play footy without eating breakfast.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I used to get this feeling, but I just never, like, associated with it. Really? But then since I've started eating before doing it and feeling the amount of energy I have compared to when I didn't do it, it makes me look back on all those times being like, oh my God, like if I ate, would I have felt way better? Like in games, like would have, like, not like would things have changed, but just like knowing like I would have, that was what that feeling was. Yeah. That like depleted feeling.
Interesting. That's crazy that you didn't eat before games, yeah.
Yeah. I like have a couple of muesli bars and that's about it.
I had the same realization with coffee at work. I got so much better at my job when I discovered coffee at like the age of 23. I was like, this is what normal people feel like. Yeah. I always want to go to sleep during my shift when I do a 9 to 5. Well, I used to. And these days don't have that at all because I'm smashing coffee.
I was late to the coffee game as well.
It's not a bad thing.
I wasn't a coffee drinker. Pretty much until I started this job, actually. I became a coffee drinker. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's quite late.
I wasn't a coffee drinker at all prior. So only the last year I've been drinking coffee. But how many, what's your worst? Like how many cups of coffee would you...
I've never done more than 2.
In a day?
And I try not to have 2. So, but I've got to the point where if I have a coffee, I try and time it perfectly and never have it at the start of the day. I have it when I start to have a bit of a lull, which is usually 2 or 3 hours into the day. Or after food or something like that. I try and time it when I don't need a second one. A third one I would not sleep till Christmas. Yep. Like I'm very sensitive to caffeine.
Yeah. I can... Yeah, I mean, one for sure.
Yeah. I don't really like to go a shift without coffee, though, now. I can't not have coffee as well. One thing I did sort of want to debrief on this podcast with you, actually, is the night we had after the grand final live stream. So, the True Footy live stream, that was sick. Like, so for context, for people who don't really realise, we normally have about an average of 20 to 40 on a live stream for like a normal home and away game. And then... But like, and in the big final, maybe 100 people on it, like consistently, concurrently. We had in excess of 200 pretty much all day, and that peaked at 350. And by the end of the live stream, 35,000 people had tuned in. And
that's pretty sick numbers, isn't it? Really?
Well, the week before, which was still a pretty big one, we had 3,000 views on it. this is 35,000.
Yeah,
so
wow.
It's pretty wild, the numbers we put on that. That for me is like, I've said it to you, I think, probably the highlight of my year, that day. Because as you said, we didn't crack beers at 10 a.m, but we had that vlog, that I released on the channel, that whole day. That to me was just
a fun day.
Yeah, an ideal day. And I'm so glad I've got the vlog to look back on it and stuff. It was just hanging out with mates in the morning, catching up with Darcy, going to the gym, setting up, watching the grand final, and then sinking piss, and then just being a good level of drunk by the end of the live stream that none of us were being too silly except Druzy.
I think I was pretty much there with Druzy. Yeah. I mean, if you watch the live stream, there is a moment, I don't know what exactly it is, but I disappear behind this couch, and then I think I dropped something, but I can't remember, and then I pop up, and you see me pop up, one eye half shut, one eye open, and I just go, I'm steaming.
I'm steaming. Yeah, no, shit like that. The whole day, we watched half the live stream back the other night. The whole day was just awesome. But it did take a sour downturn because we did go out to Fremantle that night. And what happened at first? We went to the synagogue. That was good for half an hour, and then we decided to move on.
Yep.
And then there was a moment where half the group wanted to go into Metros and half the group wanted to go to Benny's.
Yes.
So Druzy talked me into going to Metro, so I stayed with him and you and the boys. I'll probably won't name names.
Nah, leave it nameless.
I'll leave it nameless.
Yep.
But you and a couple of boys went up and queued at Benny's.
Yep.
Druzy was so maggot that he was not allowed into Metros.
Which is a level of drunkenness that is in excess.
Difficult to attain. He was honestly fine. I mean, he was really drunk, but he wasn't being stupid.
No, he's a good dude. So him being drunk is a fine person to deal with. It's the people that are a bit nasty to begin with, or people that are a bit just not nice people. And then when they get drunk, and it sort of magnifies it.
Yeah,
George is just a good wholesome dude. So when he gets drunk, he just turns into this cute wholesome dude.
I think we're all a bit like that in the way we just get really happy when we're drunk. He was good, but obviously so we got rejected, and we started walking up to Benny's, and that's when we saw a big commotion. And this is a real issue, I think, in society in general. I'm referring to when we walked up, we saw a scuffle, and I saw you were next to it, if you remember, and I could tell you weren't part of it, but you were very close to it. So I was like, oh, what's Dylan gotten himself into here? There's clearly a fight right behind you. And then it breaks apart. Someone's getting dragged off. This is literally 30 seconds after we've seen you. So there could not have been too much happen in that time. And people disperse, and I just see our friend that I won't name beaten to shit. His eye was, I'm pretty sure he had a black eye,
bloody nose.
I think it turned out to be a broken nose, and he just looked shocked. And I don't know what's happened, but there was a kick-off within the 30 seconds of saying goodbye to you guys and catching up with you again, that some idiot who I don't know if you remember, but was he in his 30s? I remember someone saying that they were older blokes that just kicked off and started beating the shit out of our friend. Yeah. Do you have any memories of what exactly happened?
That's the shit thing is I really don't remember. I was just too drunk from the day and just everything that led up to it. I was in a similar state to Druzy. Me and Druzy were started drinking real early in that day. So I don't really know, but I think what happened is they sort of started on me originally, and then our mate has jumped in for it.
Is that right?
But then I don't remember seeing it kick off. I was just I don't know. My responses in my brain were just so lagged that I don't really know what happened. But then I do remember sort of realizing what was going on, and I remember grabbing a dude with a white shirt. I just remember a white shirt.
I think he was wearing a white shirt. The dude that I saw get dragged away was wearing a white shirt.
I just remember grabbing a white shirt and pulling hard on a white shirt.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's all I really can gauge from it. Yeah. But I mean, sour note to end. Otherwise, what was a good day?
Yeah, long story short, what happened was some idiot has been pissed off by something. Maybe someone accidentally cut in line in front of him. Maybe they stood on his foot. I don't know. But he looked like he was about to fucking kill someone.
Yeah.
I was looking at this dude getting dragged away, and he was this all happened in 30 seconds. Nothing could have happened. There was no conversation, I'm sure. And this guy that was getting like, thankfully there were cops everywhere.
Yep.
But the cops were like dragging him away and putting him away, and he looked like he wanted to kill someone. I guess like the reason I want to bring that up is just it's such a cooked thing to do. Like, if you can't handle your piss, like, don't go out.
Or your emotions in general.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you're the sort of person who is prone to that, because I believe that you have to be a bit prone to that on the piss to do that. Like, that is not something you or I or anyone I know...
Not to that level of aggression. That was extremely aggressive.
Yeah, but I mean, turned out our friend had a broken nose, and that was the night over. Like, that was it.
Everyone went home. It was all over.
The night was ruined, but his life could have been ruined. The guy that got hit, the guy that punched him, could have had his life ruined. Imagine like something worse happened.
Yeah, God forbid. 2
lives potentially ruined.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
All over a small spat that probably was nothing in the end.
Yeah.
I do feel guilty though, because I don't think I like responded as fast as I should have. Being like a mate being in a fight, like you really should dive in faster. But so that's one thing that I'm a bit like annoyed at. Like, I should have like jumped in earlier, but you always come up with a whole lot of what ifs in these sort of situations.
The way I saw it was I could see you next to it, but I generally remember you looking around. You could tell from a distance you were drunk. Like, your eyes were like, I think you said at the time you had tunnel vision. Like, your peripheral vision
was gone. I had none. Yeah.
So I could tell you were like looking around. You even had almost a smile on your face, as though you were like in a conversation, turning around and seeing what was happening. So like, I don't know. It's hard to blame you. It's not as though that you guys were like arguing and it kicked off and then you didn't react.
Yeah.
It appeared that it was just random, and literally no one I've spoken to can give me a straight answer.
No.
Started, so.
No. I mean, all of our mates I've spoken about have all been like, I don't know what it was about.
It's crazy, man.
So it is a bit bizarre, because you would think at least someone would be like, oh yeah, no, like there was an argument, but there was no like argument. There was no kickoff. It literally just went from 0 to 100. Like, there was no, because normally there's a massive build up. Normally there's a lot of like aggressive talking or like shouting, but no one recalls any of it.
Yeah.
Like, no one remembers. And when you put together the timelines of like you leaving to you catching up, there's not enough time for all that to fit in anyway. So how did it go from like...
Yeah, well, there was a witness that came up to us afterwards, and it was an older bloke, and he just said what that guy just did was the biggest dog act.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking... Like,
he did just kick off, I think.
Yeah. But anyway, that wasn't actually the main reason I wanted to bring that up. The main reason I want to bring it up is because it kind of ties into... we were talking about last week, like positive thinking and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a strange segue, but the main reason was stinker of a night, felt gutted for our friend, someone else has also got a perforated eardrum from that, our other friend. So, but woke up the next day hungover and could have just reflected on it as though that was an absolute stinker
and just said like, it ended the best day. Like, you definitely could have looked at it from a negative point.
Yeah, but I guess, I mean, it's easy for me to say this because I wasn't beaten to shit, and I do acknowledge that.
Yep.
And I did feel gutted for my friend, but for someone who is like a negative person generally, one thing I just tried to employ last Sunday was think about how sick grand final day was up to that point, and anything past that I couldn't control, and I'm not going to feel shit about it. And that's just something I've, even in the last 7 days, tried to employ, because I think a lot of the time with negative people, including myself, who can get into a negative funk, and it's literally just by allowing themselves to be triggered by stuff and focusing on the wrong stuff.
Yep.
And I noticed as well, like sometimes at work, okay, I've had what I felt is a shit day, and then I'll get home from work and Dad will be like, how was your day? Like when I used to live with him, and I'll be like, oh, it's fucking shit. And he'll be like, why? And I'll be like, and I won't be able to give him a straight answer as to why, but I just felt shit the whole day. And it'll usually be because like at the start of a shift, say I'm wheeling a pallet around the store, and then I go too quickly around the corner, a flap is hanging out, hits the fire hydrant, and the box of like pop-up sprinklers just goes flying all over the store. Like, this is an example because it did happen. But when that sort of thing happens early, you just think, oh shit, why did that happen?
Yeah.
Like, this is just a very micro example, but why did that happen? This is bullshit. Like, nothing can go right. And if that happens early in your shift, or like for me, I'd fixate on that, and then I'd start to think, oh, I'm having a shit day. And then just like little negative triggers all day.
Yep.
I'd be focusing on those. At the end of the shift, I feel like I've had a shit day, but then I won't be able to explain why I've had a shit day. And that's kind of a microcosm for, I think, a lot of people feeling shit. Like, I think sometimes people can focus on little negative triggers disproportionately. And that's why in that moment I decided to focus on the negative in that hangover was quite big, like someone got beaten up, but that is something I've employed in the last 7 days, and I generally feel so much better.
Yeah,
in the last 7 days.
It's similar to the point that we made. It was last podcast.
It was last one, yeah.
When I was talking about that guy named Charlie Rockets, and he does his win streak.
Yeah.
And he counts the small wins in the day instead of counting the small losses in the day.
I've been doing that, yeah.
So instead of fixating, like you said, and seeing every loss, he's constantly looking for the next little victory, next little win of his. And like his is so small. So for example, he always says like his first one is when he wakes up in the morning, he goes down to Starbucks. He's obviously American, so he goes to Starbucks and he buys this coffee, and the coffee costs like $1.20.
Yeah.
And the first thing he says is like, a big cup of happiness for $1.20. That's a win.
Yeah.
And he starts his day every day like that. So like he's the moment that he wakes up, within the first hour, I don't know how long it takes him to get ready. We'll just say an hour. He's counted his first win, and every day he reckons he goes there and goes to Starbucks and he says in his head, like, all that happiness for $1.20. It's going to be a great day. I'm going to win.
Yeah.
And then from then on, he's just counting all these wins and all like little triggers. Like, and it's things that you don't realize, but like he just logs them. Coming up to a traffic light at it being green, not having a stop. He'll just drive through and he'll be like, win.
Yeah.
And then he's constantly just doing that like that box falls over.
Yeah.
He hasn't thought about it. He literally just grabbed it, put it back on. He's kept going. He hasn't had time to process like, oh, how shit was that? Because he's thinking about all these wins. And he's just like, it's like 5 wins. How can I get to 6 wins? Like, yeah. Then like you might put that back on the pallet, go around the corner, see a customer, give them great advice, and go like 6 win.
Nice.
And he's just gone from like that shitty little event. Walked around the corner, seen a customer and given some good advice, felt good about it, and then gone like win. So like it's different, like your views and like what you're logging in the day can really affect your mood.
Definitely. I think I'm one of those people that can let like negative stuff fester, and it sounds so simple what you're saying, and there may be like half the people who listen to this and think that's really simple, like anyone can do that, but
I think that's the point though.
Yeah, well no it is, but like I think there would probably be a contingent of people who listen to that and be like, I should probably do more of that. I should not focus on the negatives. Yep. Even just having a hangover itself, I don't know if you've found this, but one thing I've found is just to not think about the fact that you're hungover. Yeah. And because like there's natural side effects being hungover, you actually do get anxiety from alcohol. Like that is an actual side effect. And there are chemical things at play there. And I understand you can't necessarily just ignore those because they're going to be there. But I have found that often I'm just like, oh, I'm so hungover. Oh, I'm so tired. And the more you fixate on it, the worse you feel. And it's kind of, again, a microcosm of just like, or not a microcosm, but like, that's just like a little example of how if you focus on the wrong things, it can have a vastly different effect on your mindset. And I've actually noticed as well at work, I'm making myself like sound like a really negative like person. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm exaggerating it a bit just because it is something I want to improve about myself. Yeah. But there will be times at work where I can hear myself complaining to other people about shit, and I'll be like, it's not actually that bad. Like, well, who are the sort of people you want to hang around with? They're not the people that tell you how shit the day's going, you know. So
they're always the people that it just brings the mood straight down as soon as you're around them. I mean, there's a lot of them. Like, there's people that work at any workplace. There'll be that, and everyone will be able to relate to it. There'll be that one or that group of people that you immediately walk up to them in a day at work, and they will automatically just have a whinge, and it really does bring it down. And some days you just don't feel like it, and it's just like, I don't want to be around you now, because like when I do, like it's just, you just want to whinge about things, and like I'm trying to get things done, I'm trying to be positive, I'm trying to move forward. But you said previously you sort of call yourself a pessimist.
Yeah, I think I'm naturally a little bit pessimistic. It's I mean, I'm exaggerating. I talk about it a lot in this podcast just because it's an interesting topic to me.
Of course.
I don't think, like you would say, I'm not that.
No, you're not just, you're not like a.
I just notice the way my mind works, and it can be a little bit toxic, especially at times where I felt low, like in the past. My internal monologue, it goes in a certain trend, and I think it's just really important to know that about yourself and try and fix it. And that's what I'm doing now. I feel good these days. Yeah,
being self-aware. But I think it's funny because I was literally thinking about this yesterday, which is when you sort of come to me before the podcast and said you want to bring it up. I thought it was a great idea because I had thought about this. But I feel like there's healthy and unhealthy to both sides. So there's healthy optimism and there's healthy pessimism.
Negativism.
And there's unhealthy optimism, and there's unhealthy pessimism.
Sure.
And what I mean by that is I've sort of like put it into this little sentence that I feel like is really good. It describes it the best way that my mind can, which is be pessimistic enough to go into everything with caution. Be optimistic enough to know that it's possible. And I feel like that is the perfect balance. Like
Kung Fu Panda.
I hope not. I'm hoping that like someone clips that and just says like Dylan Coulthard has come out with the best quote. But like I feel that's really powerful. It's to like come into things with your guard up. Don't ever come into things like because that's how you get hurt. That's how things backfire. Like go in with your research done, knowing what's happening, and go in with caution. Go in with like knowing what could go wrong, knowing what can go right. But then also have that level of optimism to like not discount anything. Like everything is possible if you really want it. And I think the pessimistic side will make you work hard. The optimistic side will make you dream for it.
Yeah.
And I think they go hand in hand. I don't think you can have one without the other.
The other side of it as well is good to not let your expectations blow out wildly as well.
Yeah.
And like, good example is just women. Like if you go out thinking, like, say there's a girl that you like and you're going to a party together and stuff like that. Not that that's happened recently to me, but like the way I would approach it is just to prepare myself for every outcome. So this could be a stinker of a night, or it could be every like the night I exactly want it to be.
Yeah.
So don't be surprised at whatever outcome there is, because I think it's damaging if you go in there say she hooks up with another guy, you're never going to feel good about that. But maybe it's a bad example. But like, it's good to prepare yourself for any possible outcome as well, and that's part of being pessimistic or at least just pragmatic, so that when things don't go well,
you can handle it.
Hit for six.
Yeah, you're not heartbroken. You can handle it.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, I mean, it is a tricky one. You really just need to find that perfect little balance, and everyone's balance is different. But you definitely, you can't just be that crazy like optimistic person. You still need to be grounded in what's real.
Those people are annoying too.
Yeah, and you still need to be grounded in like what's real, and like, because there's people that like dream of all these goals, but they're not necessarily interested in the work. They just like the end result, but they don't want the road to get there.
Yeah,
so you still need to be grounded. You need to be grounded in what it's going to take. You need to be grounded in the problems that can arise. You need to be grounded that it's not all going to go smoothly, which is the pessimistic side. But then again, be optimistic enough to know that it is possible and want to chase it.
Yeah, 100%.
So find that balance, and that balance is different for everybody.
Yeah,
some people need to be more optimistic. They're naturally like they're naturally searching for the problems and searching where the next like issue could come from, which is fine. Just like apply more optimism to your life. Some people are extremely optimistic and have their heads like up high dreaming. Maybe bring it down and think of the road to get there rather than the end goals all the time. So depends on the person, but I think you need to have the balance between them.
Very true. Yeah, I agree. I think I've said in the past, I'm the sort of person who will approach a problem. I contrasted my dad. If there's a problem, his solution will be think about 3 ways we can do it, and then worry about the setbacks after.
Yeah.
Whereas I have a different mind where I'll think this is a solution we could do, but these are the roadblocks we're going to hit. It's kind of like both are useful, like you alluded to. I think generally it's good to err on the side of optimism and be bold, because you don't want to develop that fear of failure, fear of tackling something like, I don't know, trying to make a career on YouTube. I don't know, just a random example. Like there's so
completely unrelated example.
Yeah, just just conjuring that. There's like so many reasons that could fall flat. But it's good to back yourself and take a risk. Do you know what I mean? As well, you don't want to be risk averse because you're too pessimistic. You don't want to risk everything because you're too optimistic.
Yeah. How do you go with like goal setting and whatnot?
Goal setting is interesting.
What is in your mind? What is the easiest way to break down getting to where you want to be? Is it setting goals to get along the way? Is it really mapping out? Some people are really like visual. They want vision boards. They want to like see things. I know our mate Druzy likes his weekly goals.
Yeah,
and he feels like that's his approach of getting to the end goal or like the end product of what he wants to be as a person.
Yeah.
What's your approach? How do you sort of tackle it?
It's a great question, because I totally support goal setting, but it's not something I necessarily employ. My logic has always been, the point of goal setting is to make sure you're working hard.
Yeah.
And for me, the working hard part, specifically with YouTube, has never been a problem.
Yeah.
Because I've thought, whether I'm going for 10k subs by the end of the year or 20k subs, I'm going to be grinding the exact same level, and that's the way I've always felt. And that's why I've never actually put a number on what I want to achieve. But I do think if, like you say, if I'm going to be trying to make this a career, I've probably got a window. You know what I mean? Like I've probably got a couple of years. Well, maybe that's.
I don't think that's even true at all.
Maybe that's not true. Okay, but
I understand where you're coming from, but
Yeah.
I think like you could definitely make it at any point.
I suppose that's true. Yeah, that's another thing I'm actually quite passionate about. As I said it, I was like, that's probably not true. But what I do need to do is start visualizing what this will look like when it's successful. Because I think I've said this before. I don't actually have a firm image in my head of what a career doing this would look like.
Do you mean in terms of like what your day to day would look like, or like what do you?
So like, if I'm going to cut a living out of doing YouTube, is it going to be the podcast? It makes a lot of money from sponsorships, and therefore that's my salary. Or
Right.
is it that I'm going to be doing this on the side and then maybe work?
So you're talking like
the
monetary wise.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's tied in because
Oh, for sure. No, like
Yeah.
let's not kid ourselves.
I'm not trying to make $1 million, but the goal is that this is financially viable, that I can do this for a living.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes,
I
yes.
don't want to do this and be on the dole.
No, absolutely. No, I understand that. And yeah, if anyone that tells you otherwise and tells you like don't worry about the money is lying to yourself, because like we're born into a society, and society's been built around money. Like we need it. You're like working your passion and don't worry about money. Like no, like at least make sure that you can support yourself. If you want a family, you have enough money to support your family.
Yeah.
You want your kids to go to good schools. You want your wife to be able to like wear nice clothes and do the things that she likes and pamper herself. Like there's all those things. Like I don't think it's like superficial. I don't think it's like materialistic. I think it is like is what it is, and it's what you need to live. So like that's interesting. So you're more thinking the business sense.
Yeah, pretty much.
How am I going to turn this into a business?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do other YouTubers do? How do I know like Logan Paul and such. Like, I'll use another example. Nelk Boys don't make any money off YouTube. All their money comes off merch. All their money pretty much comes off merch. They don't make any money off the video products that they put out there, or I should say content that they put out there. It's all off products that they make, the merch.
Yes.
Which do you follow Nelk Boys much?
I've actually literally never come across Nelk Boys.
So Nelk Boys, I'll give you a basic quick rundown. Nelk Boys are basically was these two guys, Kyle and Jesse, and they've sort of branched out. They've got a bit of a team going now, but basically their rise was doing pranks. So their rise was pranks on YouTube. Very funny dudes, very like I guess have no shame, put themselves in funny situations, awkward situations, and they're really good at sort of conversing and like running off the fly. A lot of like just freestyling, making situations funny, like going in with a character, going in with a mindset, and then just like making that situation funny to how they want it to be. And basically they were YouTube just didn't like them, so YouTube never promoted them. They weren't like the cookie cutter YouTube image that you see, like the family channels, whatever it might be. So they were sort of hidden on YouTube, but they got a huge following in America. As you can imagine, they're very big in like the American cultures, American colleges, American high schools. That's sort of like just that scene. And I don't think I need to explain it. Everyone knows what scene I'm talking about. So they're really popular in that scene. So they still like bang out crazy numbers on YouTube wise. But yeah, I mean they posted a thing the other day. They got paid like I'm gonna butcher the numbers. I can't remember how many views they got. It was in the millions, and I think it was in the tens of millions for a month.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they got 42 cents from YouTube.
Wow.
So they just completely demonetized everything, because it's like it's a lot of drinking, like it's a lot of. Right. It's just like obviously not the image that YouTube are trying to portray. Yeah. So what they do is they make insane merch. Yeah. So like multiple tees, multiple hoodies. They got funnels. They've got like shotgunning tools. Yeah. They've got this thing called Steve's Boot. It's a big glass boot, and it's like a liter of beer. They've got flags. They've got bags. They've literally just like made this insane, pretty much clothing range and like accessories. And the stuff sells out like in an hour. They'll do like millions of dollars in an hour. Yeah. And it'll just sell it like that. So they've built it off that. How do you think your sort of image will go, like sort of footy? Do you think are you going to make a money off YouTube ads, YouTube revenue, or do you think like you're going to have to release maybe some like some merch, some sort of product that you can give, or like is there a service that you can move into? yeah, like do you have any approach to that kind of stuff?
That's the very thing I'm trying to work out constantly, and I probably need to put more thought into it. Specifically with the ad revenue though, that they refer to that as a tip jar. So anything you make from ad revenue should be about 10% of what your total income is if you're doing a career on YouTube. Do you know what I mean?
Interesting.
So, for instance,
so where to get the 90 from is basically the question.
Exactly. And there's a guy called Roberto Blake who his YouTube channel is as an entrepreneur and helping people even on YouTube. And I think he's got like in excess of a couple 100,000 subs, and he makes about 35k a year American off ads. Which is probably like 50 grand, 45 grand Australian.
Yeah.
Which is nothing for a guy that actually has an audience of over 200,000 subscribers. He makes below average. I mean, if that was the only way he made money, he would make less than the average Australian. So, ad revenue is definitely not the way. Actually, I guess I can sort of give a little announcement. I got a 2-month extension with manscaped.com to sponsor the True Footy podcast.
It's a good start.
It is a good start. So that is one way that's got potential. If I won't say how much they're offering, but I think it's going to come in the way of sponsorships. I think merch is kind of inevitable if I want to make this a career. And the thing is, merch, I don't want to seem money hungry, but it's one of those things you have to do to sort of make it financially viable.
And the hard thing is to not make it dorky.
Yeah,
like
I'm not very good at that stuff.
Make it like fashionable. Make it something that someone can wear it on a night out, day to day. You don't want it to just seem like you go to the paint store and you get a Jewel Luxe shirt.
Yeah.
Like no one's wearing that shit. Like the only place you're wearing that is when you're mowing your lawn.
Yeah.
So the challenge is to put some effort in the design phase to make it
very true,
cool, and not make it dorky. Not make it like just a true footy logo that
I
looks.
don't want my face plastered on people's t-shirts.
No.
I just think it's
so somehow I make a True Footy instead of making it merch. I feel like the best way to approach it is to make a line, a clothing line.
I agree. Like if it instead of like True Footy on it, it would have like a quote like that's famous. Like I think on the kickoff, I think they were joking about it. I don't know if they actually did it, but one of the guys on the kickoff always says stats are for mugs. And then I think they were joking about releasing mugs, saying stats are for mugs.
Yeah.
So it doesn't actually say the kickoff on it. So like something equivalent to like that for True Footy.
Yeah.
That would be sick.
Yeah.
Or get a designer to like draw like footy animations or something like that. I think that's really cool as well.
That is super cool. So like, you know how I got that those rapper sketcher ones?
Yeah.
Where I've got like Young Slug instead of Young Thug.
Yeah.
There's one that says Ice Cubes, and it's a big glass with blocks of ice cubes and Ice Cube's faces on each block.
That's cool.
Like things like that. Maybe like you could do like some cool, footy style ones, or like try and really like plug into the culture.
Yes.
And like what people are sort of vibing with, and like even if you just did one of like if it was just like a sketch of Nick Nack's face, but literally just the outline, but then his dreadies were in full 3D.
Ooh.
Like things like that, make it like real trippy and like really cool. So like if you looked at it, it just looks like a shirt with a weird outing of like someone's face, but then you see these dreadlocks, and then people be like, oh, that's Nick Nack's hair.
Yeah.
And like cool things like that, things that are like ingrained in the culture.
I agree,
that could be stylish and cool, and not, like I say, that sort of dorky Jewel Luxe shirt.
Yeah, that's it. I think you've nailed it. I think that's the way I want to go. I think the Carlton Draft, I don't know if you know them on Facebook.
Yeah.
I think they do merch like that. Like that, it's drawings and memes and kind of things like that. So that's pretty cool. But for me, I think the focus needs to be just building the audience. I want to get the foundation in first, because I think I don't want to blame COVID, because other people have succeeded this year. But this year, in terms of growth of the channel, was a fraction of what it was last year, which sucks, because I think if you write down a lot of my goals on paper, in terms of like a lot of the stuff I said at the start of the year was improve the content, make better content, better quality content, make a documentary, get guests on. I've done all of that. I've smashed it out of the park. I've been consistent, and the growth has been a fraction of what it was last year when I was literally filming like potato videos.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So that's been a bit of a hit. So I'd love to blame COVID, because I know other creators have done well. Other creators have... I actually looked. This is not a flex, but this has just made me feel better. Out of all the big AFL content creators, I've grown the most this month. That wasn't the case before. Actually, that probably doesn't include Footy A to Z. I didn't check them. But so, I mean, I'm doing something right, and it makes me feel better knowing that other people are in the same boat. Like it's been tough this year. But I'm just praying that if I apply the same energy I did this year, other than that middle 2 months of the year where things were shit.
Yep.
If I apply that to 2021 and it gets back to normal, I'd love to have like 25k subs. Then I'd probably think more broadly about merch, stuff like that. I think that's the point. It would be cool.
Yeah. I mean, even if you just look at the numbers from like a real like a micro standpoint, and like, you know, you have a shirt that's like $20, and you have 20k subs, and like you only need like make 1,000 shirts, and like 10% of your audience buys it.
Yeah.
Like, and then you've made money there. Like,
I agree. Yeah.
It's exciting to look at it in that sense. Like, it definitely is possible. It's not out of the realms of possibilities. Like, it is definitely an opportunity for you to build a career out of it. It's just going to be like anything. Like, the same as like my career has taken 3 years of uni plus 2 years of on-the-job study to even get to the stage that I want to get, 5 years. Yeah. I mean, how long have you been doing True Footy for?
It's just gone 3 years, actually.
Like, it's going to be like any other career. And I think being patient is going to be like your best attribute. Yeah. Being patient and still putting out the content. Like, I know you had a little bit of a lull where your motivation was really gone, but then like
I think it was due to other shit, to be honest.
Sure. And then like recent as of late, like it's really picked up again. Like, you're really producing, you're collaborating, like, you know, with Druzy and whatnot. And I think your content sort of shows. I think the biggest thing as well this year for you is like you've definitely applied more personality to the channel. Like, your content has a lot more of your personality through it. Yeah. Instead of just being a podcast where it's very don't want to tread anyone's toes, don't want to like say anything too outrageous.
Yeah, we don't do that.
You don't do that anymore, which is cool, because like, sure, like maybe your subs might take a dip because like some don't like that, but then I feel like in the long run people are gonna catch on to the like authenticity of it, and that in turn I think will pay dividends. So I think it's just going to be a grind out period, and it's just going to obviously take your time. It's going to, I mean, look at any sort of YouTubers come up and they'll talk about making videos that didn't get any views, and then it just takes that like 1 year, and maybe it's year 5 of the podcast, maybe it's year 6 of the podcast where things really do just sort of like hike up, and then that's when you capitalize, that's when you drop the merch, that's when you do those sort of things.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Like I said, one of the goals I had at the start of the year was literally get more personality into this channel. Yeah. Not be like a bland, like informative pod. I wanted True Footy to be like watching footy with your mates, listening to your mates have an intelligent football conversation, not necessarily have the best opinion on football, because most people would disagree with you even if you're right. So
and there's TV shows that do that anyway. So if you really want that, go watch on the couch, go watch AFL 360, whatever it might be.
Which you should, because they're great shows.
Exactly.
But True Footy would be something different.
Yeah, your market is different. Your market is like you said. But it's cool you have that vision. It's cool you have the vision of like, I just want to be like watching mates talk about footy. Like that is a cool vision. That's obtainable. That's like, once you have that vision, the road to get there starts to become more clear.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I think that's showing the content. Like, it's quite varied content. I definitely do serious videos, but I do that as well, where I'd make a stupid video with Drews. Yeah. I think as well, like you said, it's not going to be a linear thing where this goes well every year. And that's another realization I had that made me feel better about doing it. It's part of taking on a risky career, and also just being a man, is being able to not shit yourself at every roadblock. Yep. So just because I didn't have the year I wanted in terms of subscribers, that's a really pitiful reason to be like, don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. Have a bit more of a crack. Like, eventually, maybe if I keep failing year after year, maybe I'll refocus on something else. But like, this is like the first roadblock I've had where I've been like, is this right? It would have been shit to like collapse in on myself at that first roadblock. Yep. So to push through, I think, and hopefully aim for a big year next year. Like,
what was it that your dad said again?
He said the worst thing you can do at your age is be too conservative. And that's exactly...
Snip that. Yeah. Snip that. That is great advice. That's advice from a man that's lived a life too.
Yeah. And that literally, in that conversation, that changed my mood. Like, as he was still finishing the sentence, I was like, fuck, that's just made me feel... It's weird. It made me feel better, because it just maybe made me feel liberated to take a risk. Yep. Whereas maybe I was worried about being judged, even by my dad, which is ridiculous. My dad's always fully supported True Footy. But like, I guess I started, I think I was talking about this on the pod, I started caring a bit more about what people would think if I'm 27 very soon. And you know, trying to make a career on YouTube and working at Bunnings.
Yeah.
But you just got to let go of that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. I think it's tricky though because I think like in our generation, and thank God, but your youth seems to be like a longer period these days. For example, like I feel like in our dad's generation, hitting 30 is a bigger milestone than what hitting 30 is to us.
Yeah.
Hitting 30 to us is like your 20s again. Like 30 is the new 20 for us. Like when I hit 30, I don't think I'm going to get the dreading feeling of like my life is over. Like I see 30-year-olds and they still look youthful. They still like, you still look at them and like you've still got so much to go. You still got a lot you could possibly do.
It's very true.
So I think not getting too caught up in the numbers of it, not getting too caught up in the age bracket of when should things be set in stone, when should your life be on track, when like I think all that has like of recent times, and like I say, thank God, has gone out the window. I think like I mean like I don't really get stressed about like my youth being over, although like you do care about obvious things like, you know, just like looking older, but I really feel like my best years are still well ahead of me. I think like the growth and development that I have within me is still, and like I think 30 would be a really good year for me. I don't know why, I've just always been the late bloomer. My dad was a late bloomer, and like my dad said when he turned 30 he just felt different. And it wasn't like he felt old, he just felt like secure and comfortable, and he said like it was all fun up until then, but 30 was when I really started like enjoying life. It was when I really like understood what I was doing and where I was doing it, and why I'm doing things, and not getting sucked into things that aren't going to benefit you, and like just having that like level-headedness. I think the maturity just must have like really leveled out for him. So I think I'll be the same. I think 30 is going to be like a really good year. So for me, it's all about just building up into that. And once I hit 30, then I'm going to be like, all right, like where am I at? Reassess the goals big time. Maybe that's when I start doing more goals and being more goal orientated. For now, I'm just trying to suck up every bit of knowledge and all like try as many things as I can. Start a podcast, like at work, really just like push myself in that level. Try new careers if I feel like it. Like just my 20s is all about that, because then I feel like at 30 I'll have a much better idea. And like, I mean, you say that about every year, but I just think like
it's good to have that mindset. You don't want to feel like, I think it would be kind of like a paralytic feeling, if that's the word. Where if you feel like you're running out of time, it almost makes you for some people it might make them panic and do everything, but
or might make them give up.
You just not want to do anything.
For sure.
I don't know, like some people respond to that differently. I totally resonate with like what you said. Like I feel like a late bloomer. When I was 22, I looked like I was 18. Like girls my age didn't want to bar with me. Oh, that was where I met my last girlfriend, but for the most part, like, you know what I mean, I've just always looked younger. Most people wouldn't think I'm 27. And that's just reflected, like we go at our own pace, and and the other good thing is like you don't want to wish. The other thing I realize as well, like you don't want to wish away the time that you have just doing things you enjoy, like with True Footy. I know I'm talking about myself a lot in this pod, but with True Footy, for example, and this is advice for anyone, like I get a bigger buzz off True Footy than I do literally doing anything. Like with that grand final, I was buzzing for days.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't stop talking about it.
Yeah, and I was like,
I was making eggs, as I do. We eat a lot of eggs in this house. But I was making my classic eggs on toast, and post like 3 days after the live stream, and Jesse would just say, man, I just can't get over how good the live stream went. And
it was sick though. Like it was literally just watching the grand final sinking piss with my mates and an audience of 38,000 people watching.
That is wild. At no point did I consider that 350 people were watching me. While doing it. And luckily, since I've sort of like started the podcast, and since like trial and error, I will say I definitely like said some things on the live stream that like it's not like it wasn't like outrageous, and it wasn't like it was completely off brand, but like things that you would say in the comfort of your friends and not really realizing that like there is an audience watching. So I think it was lucky that at that live stream I had the comprehension of like I understand people are watching this. I understand I'm with my mates and I'm going to get carried away. But like I still need to keep that sort of like professionalism. Maybe I don't know if that is even the right way to sort of say it. To keep things a little bit above board.
I think we hit a good balance. I could never ask anyone to not drink on grand final day, so it was always.
It was hard. I had every intention, to be honest. I literally had every intention to not. But
really? I never would have expected you to not drink.
I had every intention to at least wait till half time. But then I literally it was like pre-game, and I was just like sitting out on our balcony, and we have a gorgeous balcony here. Really nice. It's just a perfect spot to sort of go out there, mid-morning and like have breakfast, have a beer. And I was like, fuck
Beer
it.
and eggs for breakfast.
I was like, fuck it, man, I'm cracking one. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. It's hard to resist. As soon as the beers are cold, it's hard to resist, isn't
And
it?
I just bought a carton, come home with it, and it was just like, it was calling me. It really was speaking
Footy
to me.
was on, pre-game 7 News. 7 News.
Speaking
Pre-game
of
7 News.
speaking of the footy though, I was a bit heartbroken. I am a Geelong boy, although definitely don't follow the footy like I used to, when I was a young pup.
Yeah.
And that's just due to my own interest in the game of football running out.
Yeah.
Obviously played a lot of football growing up. Played decently higher level. And just sort of like really fell out of love with it. Sort of lost a lot of passion for it. Subsequently, my love for AFL dropped, and then obviously I just stopped watching footy in general.
I had it with cricket.
You had it with cricket?
Yeah.
But my dad is a Geelong supporter. Grew up in a Geelong madhouse, so there was no other option really. I mean, there was, but there wasn't. Like as a young boy, you're always gonna do what your dad says. Like your dad's like just seems like this invincible human being when you're so young. Like
Geelong
seems like Superman. So like you're just gonna follow him. So was also a crazy Gary Ablett fan. Yeah. Growing up, have this story of when I was about to play my first ever game of football, so first game of under-8s in Gelton. My auntie went to the Geelong game, and by this stage I'd been playing. I was very insane, like being like immature and being a late bloomer. I was very early to the game when it came to sports. Yeah. So I remember I went to Auskick as a kid because I love footy and I wanted to play footy. So I wasn't old enough to actually play, but I could play Auskick. Yeah. Went to Auskick, and after the first day, like my dad pulled me out and he's like, "Yeah, you're not going to be able to do this," just because like the first day I was literally teaching kids how to handball and kick, and my dad had to take me to the side and just do kick to kick with me, because I'd been kicking for years by that stage. Like I could stand there with my dad, do kick to kick, and the ball wouldn't touch the ground. Like I was already well and truly into that stuff. Like I've been doing it for years by then. So it sucked because I couldn't do it because like they were just, none of the kids there were at the level. Like I went there thinking that I was going to play games, and like it was just like these average skill bases. But then it's funny because I literally went for one day, and at the end of the year I got a letter in the mail to go play at halftime for like the Eagles in Richmond.
That's cool.
In Subiaco, back when I was at Subiaco. Yeah. So I went and played like halftime, which was awesome. That was like so cool, playing on like a AFL ground.
What year that was? Really putting you on. Was it at night?
Yeah. So I would have been like 6. So I want to say the year 2000.
Okay, fair enough.
But 2000, maybe 2001.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, when I did that. But anyway, back to the story. So I was about to play my first real game, so under-8s, proper footy. My auntie went to the Geelong game, which was on the Saturday. I was playing on the Sunday. Got into the rooms, met Gary Ablett Jr. and said like, I have a nephew. He is like your biggest fan. We bought him like a Geelong jersey. He has number 29 on the back. You actually signed it for him 3 years ago in permanent marker. The signature is now gone. He wears it that much and it's washed that much that permanent marker has been washed off a jumper, and like which doesn't seem possible. So I was like a massive fan, and for Halloween at school I went as Gary Ablett Jr. My mum bought me a blonde wig. Like, I just loved him.
Of course, he had hair back then.
Yeah, that was when he had hair. And so she said like, "Can I call him and can you like wish him good luck for his game?" And this is the first time that I've ever properly shat myself. Because
yuck.
Because my mum called. My mum answered the phone, and she calls me out, and I come down and says like,
"I pulled."
Gary Ablett Jr. is on the phone. He wants to wish you good luck for your game tomorrow. Wow. Like, do you want to talk to him? And I literally rejected him. I was like, I can't.
I'm busy.
I can't do it.
Wow.
Like, nah. And I ran away. And then I remember I went back to my mum like half an hour later, and I was like, I'm ready to talk to him. And my mum was like, "Oh, she's already gone. Like that was your one chance. Like you can't talk to him now. He's like, your auntie Vicky's not with him anymore." Oh. So like that's how heavy of a Geelong supporter I was, and Gary Ablett Jr. in particular. And then to see him in his last game go down, break his shoulder,
come back, that
was a bit heartbreaking. It was like a bit of a sour moment, but
true. He came back, but
he did, but he couldn't do much. Yeah, poor dude.
Yeah,
it's just a rough way to end it. Like you never want to see like the OGs go down that way. But I feel like it might happen more than we think. Did Chris Judd do his ACL and that was his last game?
Yes. True.
It's another OG that went down like that.
Yeah, that was a bit lame. But
Yeah.
Like, not a great way to end.
Not a grand final though, given,
True.
but
Yeah.
nonetheless,
Hmm.
still happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a bit shitty to see Geelong lose like that. But like you said, all in all, a good day minus the night. With good mates, felt like we had a good crowd, we had a good vibe going.
Yeah.
Beers were flowing. I was steaming. So it was good.
That's good, man. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know how long this is going for, but I do have a golf game to attend to. But I think
What time is that?
I think we've gone for about an hour.
Nice.
I got time. It's fine.
Sweet.
But I think we've hit a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So appreciate for watching. Appreciate you for listening.
Yeah. We're on Spotify for those who don't know.
Spotify.
Other apps as well. Not iTunes yet. I don't know what's happened there.
Every platform apart from
Yeah.
what'd you say? iTunes.
Oh yeah. So like your Apple Podcast. For some reason it said it was submitted, but it hasn't gone through.
Yeah.
So I'll look at that.
Okay. Well, wherever you are, wherever you're listening, watching, viewing, please subscribe. Yeah.
It's been real.
Appreciate you. Peace. Have a good one.